everything can change in the blink of an eye.
Todo puede cambiar.
What would you do when seconds matter?
Cada segundo cuenta.
Are you ready? Self-defense is one of the most natural instincts since the beginning of time. The RDA Show, a podcast and live radio show where we discuss the facts and myths of defense in America, hablando de los mitos y hechos más importantes de la defensa. The RDA Show.
RDA Show.
New shows Wednesdays at 8 p.m. Los miércoles a las 8 de la noche with professional self-defense instructors Tony, Damian, and Marco. The RDA Show, sponsored by CTU Federal Academy. Only on Pangea FM and your favorite podcasting platforms.
Plataformas de podcast favoritas.
Pangea.
Muy buenas noches, bienvenidos una vez más a the RDA Show. Welcome back to the RDA Show, where we talk about the facts and myths about the self-defense and the law, regardless self-defense and gun control. With me right now is Damien Yates. Hi, Damien.
Hello,
how are you
everybody.
doing today?
I'm doing all right, Tony, and yourself?
I'm doing great, ready to start reopening everything in America. Yes, and then today we're gonna be talking about how, or actually by what standards the law judge my actions. And this is regardless about using guns. In the last program, we were talking about the new gun owners. And many people in the last few days, we were seeing taking the classes for concealed weapon. All those new owners, we've been extremely busy with that. And many of them, they have so many myths that they've been hearing about the castle doctrine, the stand your ground, and also different other stuff. Today's program is sponsored also by CTU Security, I Protect USA, and CTU Federal Academy. That we, as everybody knows already, we are doing training in different categories, starting with the virtual screen, which is allow you to perform basically semi-real scenarios, because you're gonna find something that is very similar to what happened on the real life. You're gonna shoot them with a laser, and it's gonna be a very safe environment. Then we go with the airsoft techniques, where you do. Damien, can you tell us about what we do with the airsoft? So.
Well, what we do is a Tuesday training that we do every Tuesday. And we use our training weapons, airsoft guns, where we do force on force and P2P, which is person to person situation training, where we're put in all different scenarios, all different types of situations, from active shooter, the carjacking, the kidnapping, abduction, vehicle ambush, road rage. I mean, from A to Z is something when you get put in, and you actually don't have any static targets. So without a static target, with an actual moving target, with an actual moving threat, someone that is presenting themselves as a threat with a weapon, it puts us in that situation to either make the right decisions or to make the wrong decisions, and have a chance to come back and correct those wrongs without it being, as we call, game day. So on game day is when it's really happening. When we do it on Tuesdays, it's what we call pregame. Because why? We get to go over and over and over. We get to make the mistakes. We get to do it every week, and we get to come back from our mistakes and try it again next week and try to become better at defending ourselves, better decision makers, better at awareness, better at shooter discretion, and it's something that for me it's beyond words because it's something that you can't do anywhere else. I mean, you could try it with bills with simunition, or you could try it with UTM. I mean, but the cost is higher when you can do the same thing at pennies on the dollar compared to other alternatives.
Right. And then that's what we do with the training guns, training day, Tuesday, 7 p.m. It's going to be started on June 2nd. We're going to start doing that training again with the
Yeah.
I Protect USA, which is a partner with the CTU Federal Academy and CTU Security. Also is a sponsor for the RDA Show, the one that is our program every week on Wednesdays. Besides that, also we do the live firearm training with CTU Federal Academy, where we use the counter-terrorist unit program that is backed by the United Nations. And it takes you all the way from the beginners up to inclusive special ops. Those programs, of course, they are civilian uh, training and military training. Whoever is interested to learn about that, welcome. The number you can call is 786-453-6646, which is the RDA show phone number to get more information about it. And we would like to hear from you guys. Send us an email also to info at the RDA show with the topics that you are, you know, want to hear from us. We can clarify if it's a myth or it's a fact. So give us your feedback because we want to supply you with the right answers. If we don't have it, we have a group of people that they are experts in different areas, and we know that we will find the best answer to any question or concern that you
Yeah.
can have.
And they can do it any time of the week before Wednesday, and we'll try to have the answer for coming up that next Wednesday.
I'm going to say that a little bit in Spanish so some people
Go ahead.
understand. Si ustedes, la audiencia que nos escucha, tiene alguna pregunta o alguna inquietud que quieran conocer, pueden escribirnos a info@the RDA Show, RDA de rdashow.com, y le haremos, buscaremos un experto en la materia para poder aclarar si es un mito o es un hecho real y usted puede clarificar su duda. Queremos que ustedes participen con nosotros. Diciendo esto, el programa de hoy va a ser cómo la ley juzga mis acciones. Y esto es referente a cuando usamos un arma de fuego. Damian, the show topic is once again under what standard will the law judge my actions?
Ah,
And many people believe they have this is something that I've been looking during the week with the new owners. They have some belief that if somebody get into your house, they have fully right to shoot the person inside your house. And I'm wondering that you explain a little bit, and after you put some scenarios, I can also explain in Spanish to the Spanish-speaking
okay.
audience.
Let me ask you a question. Is it how? Because it also depends on how they get in their house. Because if you have somebody that you're home and you have somebody kicking in your door, that becomes a home invasion. And home invasion is a forcible felony, which is justifiable to use deadly force to defend yourself. Now, someone breaks in and they're wandering around, and you come home. That's not a home invasion. That's a burglary. So, I mean, the safest thing would be to wait outside. You can wait outside. You're armed. You wait outside. Call law enforcement, and If they come out and they brandish a weapon, then you will have the right to defend yourself because they brandished a weapon to possibly murder you.
Right. So, en otras
So,
palabras, lo que queremos decir es que depende de la invasión. Si una persona entra a tu casa y solamente entró, eso se considera una invasión de propiedad, pero no está corriendo tu vida peligro, por lo tanto, no sería lo más ético usar un arma de fuego porque no estás en una defensa personal. Ahora, si él entra y está armado y tú estás afuera y ya ellos tienen una invasión y tu vida piensa que puede correr peligro, entonces lo mejor y lo más recomendable es que espere afuera, llame a la policía y si la persona o está dentro y la persona saca un arma, entonces ahí ya usted puede estar justificado de utilizar una fuerza letal porque ya su vida corría peligro. Yeah. Okay. Also, what I'm saying is this is very important because people don't have to make a difference depending on how the people get into your house. What are the which are the intentions of breaking into your house? And
right.
let's say that somebody get into your house and to steal your TV, but you're on the second floor. Do you consider that a threat, Damien? Si usted está en su casa y alguien entra a su propiedad para llevarse un televisor y usted está en un segundo piso, ¿eso se considera una amenaza a su vida? Go ahead, Damien. We're
I
gonna discuss
mean,
each other.
well, yes, it's a potential threat. I'm not going to say it presents itself as a deadly threat as of yet, because if you're upstairs and someone's downstairs trying to steal your TV and you have your weapon and you say, hey, get away from my stuff, I leave my things, and get out of my house, and then this person decides to come at you, or now they have a weapon, then now they become a deadly threat, and now you have to defend yourself, and defending yourself might end up with you have to use force.
Si la persona está en tu casa y tú estás en el segundo piso, tú puedes salir con tu arma y decirle que deje tu propiedad, salga de tu propiedad y no te robe. Pero si la persona saca un arma en ese momento y te amenaza, ya se puede considerar una amenaza real y puede estar justificada. But, Damien, let me ask you something. Let's say that the guy used one into to get a radio, a TV, or stole some property. And you show him the gun and he just walk away with the TV. Are you allowed to shoot? He didn't show you any gun.
Allowed to shoot. I'm not gonna say what anybody's allowed to do in that situation. For me personally, me knowing myself, I wouldn't shoot at that moment, knowing that he just has a TV. But will I try to take my TV back? Of course. I'm not just gonna let him walk away. No, but am I saying, okay, I'm gonna use deadly force? No, I'm not thinking I'm gonna use deadly force in that situation. Am I gonna be prepared to
Mi
use deadly
pregunta,
force?
mi
See,
pregunta,
there's a
Damien, fue
difference.
si la persona entra en la propiedad para robarse un televisor, radio o cualquier cosa de la casa, él dispararía y él efectivamente me dijo que él no usaría una fuerza mortal para detener el robo, pero trataría de ver cómo puede hacer para que no le roben.
Okay,
Esto puede ocasionar, just one second, Damien,
go ahead.
esto
Just let me
puede
know when you're
ocasionar
ready.
dos escenarios. Uno, una confrontación. Dos, una confrontación o una situación donde tú pudieras buscar tener tu vida en peligro. Are you saying that this could represent two scenarios? One, that you get into engage into a confrontation, or put your life on risk because maybe he's going to start a fight. Is he still thinking that he can steal your property?
Right.
And then eventually a lethal force could be used. And that's the reason why, this is a very common scenario where people see intruders and they believe automatically that the causal doctrine is in effect, and they can shoot anybody just because getting to their house. Yes, basically the law protects you if it's justified, right? But how the law is gonna justify your actions or judge the use of deadly force?
Deadly force. Okay, so the thing about
Remember,
the thing about dealing with the law is the law, as we've always said and been told, that the law deals with the facts. They don't deal with the story. They don't deal with how it actually happened. The letter of law or how you get arrested deals with the facts. Can the facts of the letter of the law, the facts. So if they say, okay, you like manslaughter, let's take manslaughter. Manslaughter is the killing of someone during a negligent act. So say negligently, you end up shooting this person.
just 1 second, let me just translate it also because
Go
we
ahead.
have a speaking audience too, speaking
Go
Spanish
ahead. Go ahead. Go
audience.
ahead.
Sí, sí, definitivamente la ley no se basa en una historia que tú puedas darle, sino en hechos. Y los hechos, Demian está hablando ahora de lo que se llamaría en inglés manslaughter. El manslaughter
The
es
killing.
el asesinar a alguien de una forma negligente. Y pudiera ser que si le disparas a alguien que está en tu casa, pero no estaba armado y no representaba una amenaza para ti, pero tú tuviste una situación y usaste o ocasionaste un daño grande corporal a esa persona o la muerte, entonces pudiera ser juzgado por un acto negligente. Go ahead.
Right. So you go through the facts. So when you're getting in those situations, you have to remember that there is no doubt that you are justified to use deadly force, because without being totally justifiable in your actions, you could face prosecution. Stand your ground, castle doctrine, the fact that you are a legal gun owner, you have a concealed weapons permit, none of that stuff begins to matter if you're not justified in what you're doing.
Cuando usted
So,
utilice el arma, tienen que estar muy seguros de que va a ser de una manera justificada para que recuerde que la ley se basa en los hechos. Y los hechos, let me say about the facts.
go ahead.
Los hechos son los hechos que usted pueda decir su versión. Esos son los hechos según su punto de vista. Luego va a haber un incidente y ese incidente va a crear una investigación. I'm saying that the facts is your version, and then also the incident is going to generate a law enforcement investigation, those who's going to bring another fact, and then also they're going to have the facts of the witnesses, cameras, or any other external individual that was present or knows something about it. También se va a tomar en cuenta la investigación, los hechos que arrojen la investigación y los hechos que arrojen los testigos, las cámaras y cualquier otra persona que haya podido intervenir o conozca de parte del caso o de su versión de por qué ocurrió. Entonces, todos esos hechos se juntan y usted va a tener que utilizar un abogado defensor que va a dar su versión, su versión de los hechos, va a dar la versión, el jurado va a ver la versión de las investigaciones y va a ver la versión de los testigos y las pruebas que estén dentro de la misma investigación. Are you saying that the law is going to review your facts, the investigation facts, and also witnesses and devices, proof or anything that is related to the investigation or any external
Well,
person that is
yeah,
related to.
but you gotta to make sure it has to be understood that the facts are what will either justify you or cause you to be arrested.
Los
Now,
hechos te van a
witness
justificar o te van a arrestar.
now witnesses, cameras, and things of that nature. If the facts free you and say you're justified, or the facts have you arrested because under the letter of the law there is factual basis that you committed a crime, then you will have to hope that cameras, witnesses, and all these other things come into effect to prove that you were justified. But all these things don't have to come out before you be arrested. They won't. They usually they won't.
Es bien interesante y yo quiero decirles que, por ejemplo, voy a citar textualmente. I'm just gonna say literally what we teach in our classes
Sure.
about this. Actions are justified, legally justified, if a reasonable belief that deadly force is necessary to prevent imminent death or great bodily harm. Las acciones van a estar legalmente justificadas si razonablemente hay una creencia que la fuerza mortal fue necesaria para prevenir un gran daño corporal o una muerte inminente.
You left out one thing. You left out something. The
Go
fact that
ahead.
firing a weapon is deadly force at any given time. You know, because some people we have the myth out there that okay, if I shoot him in the leg, it's not as bad as me shooting him in the midsection. You know, if I shoot him in the arm, it's not as bad. That some people have that myth, and once you fire a weapon, that is deadly force. Once you fire a weapon, even if you were not justified to use deadly force, and you fire that weapon and you don't shoot that person, that's still use of deadly force. So that's in that what you read, because I know that I read that every day. I know that's there. Go ahead, you can tell him it's Smith. Tony? Oh well, Tony's no longer with us. I don't know what happened. But for all my English speaking listeners, Tony is having a few technical difficulties. So right now we're going to wait for him to come back up. But as I was explaining, yes, using a firearm is deadly force. It doesn't make a difference if you strike the person that you deemed a threat. It doesn't make a difference if you fire rounds in the air. It doesn't make a difference how you do it. You are using deadly force. And you are responsible for anything that comes out of your firearm. So if you shoot 4 shots in the air and one come down and hit somebody else somewhere else, you are responsible for that. No one else. You would be responsible for that person that got shot from a round fired from your weapon, regardless of what was the situation from you using it or you firing it. Also, if you're not justified to use deadly force because you are not in fear for your life from death or great bodily harm, there are chances you will face prosecution. Just because you did not face prosecution at the scene doesn't mean you won't face prosecution later once camera evidence, witnesses, and other things during an investigation come out, which could be days, could be hours, it could be months, it could be weeks. Other evidence and things can come out. So that would be something that anybody that plans on defending themselves should always understand and know. And I always tell people that when you're planning to use deadly force, it should be a swap. It should be a complete swap of your fear for deadly force to you defending yourself with deadly force. if you're in a situation and you have no fear of your life because there's no weapon involved, there's no firearm, no type of weapon involved, and you're not really in fear for your life, but because this is a big person, a person that's bigger than you, maybe 2 times bigger than you, you're not allowed to use deadly force for that. Because people say, oh, that person was a big person. I'm not going to fight him. I'm going to shoot him. And you're going to face charges. You're back, Tony. Well, as we see, we have Tony back.
Yeah,
We had a little,
it's been a storm here in Austin.
oh,
So the internet now, so I have to use my cell phone right now in
well, that's a
order
good thing.
to go back.
Well, we just got through being flooded
Can you
out
hear me?
there at the office at CTU.
Yeah. But it's okay. Anyway, the technology allowed me to use my cell phone, and I'm proud to be back.
Glad to have you back. But what I was explaining to people, our listeners and our viewers, was the fact that using deadly force, firing a weapon is deadly force. No matter whether you hit your intended target to defend yourself, or if you feel like you're defending yourself, whether you fire rounds in the air, whether you fire a weapon and shoot at the ground, is deadly force, no matter what happens. So if you have an intruder and you don't feel your life is in danger and you shoot at the intruder and you don't hit him, that's still use of deadly force. And if you were justified for deadly force, there's a chance you face prosecution.
Sí, es importante porque mencionaba Demian que es importante saber que el uso de un arma de fuego se considera uso de un arma mortal. Lo que yo había leído inicialmente era que las acciones eran legalmente justificadas si había una creencia razonable de que la fuerza mortal fuera necesaria para prevenir una muerte o un daño permanente en el cuerpo. Usar un arma de fuego se considera un uso de arma mortal. Por lo tanto, si alguien entra a su casa y usted decide utilizar un arma de fuego, usted estaría utilizando un arma mortal para la defensa propia, pero también va a tener que justificar el por qué utilizó un arma mortal en una situación donde su vida no corría peligro. Y esto quiero hacerlo bien, mucho hincapié en que el arma de fuego no debe usarse para disparar al aire, para darle un tiro de advertencia o darle en una pierna para que quede herido, porque usted está utilizando como sea, aunque haya quedado herido, usted utilizó fuerza mortal. Y tiene que buscar la manera de que sea realmente justificada y que su vida usted haya temido por su vida o haya temido porque usted iba a tener un daño corporal grande. Entonces, esas son las dos maneras que la ley puede justificar el uso de arma mortal. I just explained that about the deadly force use, so you have to justify after you use a firearm because it's considered deadly force also. And then they're going to need to justify. But now, who is the one who decides if it's justified or not? Ahora, tal vez usted tiene la seguridad de que fue justificada, pero ¿quién realmente decide si su acción fue justificada? So I'm just going to read who decides if it's justified. So once we say that has to be a reasonable belief, then we have to know what is the reasonable belief and who decides, right?
Well, before you left, I was trying to explain to him that when you decide to use deadly force, it has to be a swap. And the reason I had said it has to be a swap is because you have to believe that your life is in danger. So once you believe your life is in danger, your life is in danger from death or great bodily harm, you swap that out and defend yourself with that same action to defend your life from death or great bodily harm with deadly force. So,
Right.
so you know, you have to be decision making as far as when using deadly force, because I always explain it as the light being on and the light being off. So if I was to cut the light off, the lights would be off. No questions asked. Right now, the light is on. So when you feel in fear of your life from death or great bodily harm, your light to use deadly force to defend yourself should come on.
Right.
Now, if you don't fear for your life from those things, that light should be off. Now, if you're somewhere in the middle of that light being on and off, it can't be. So I always say you turn that light off with deadly force, but I'm not saying don't be prepared or ready for that light to switch right back on to be ready to use deadly force to defend yourself. Because you can be in an argument with somebody and you feel they're a threat, but they haven't shown you need to use, you're not in fear for your life yet. And then in a blink of an eye, they can pull a weapon.
Right. Lo que Damien dice es que temer por la vida. Okay, go ahead.
Sorry. No, I'm saying go ahead. It's translated. Go ahead.
Ok, lo que Damien dice es que cuando temes por tu vida, él pone el ejemplo de luz encendida o apagada. Y no puede haber algo en el intermedio. O temes por tu vida o no temes por tu vida. Si la luz está encendida, creo que cualquiera de las dos, pero o está encendida, no. Si está encendida es porque tú no temes por tu vida. Si la luz está apagada, entonces tú temes por tu vida. ¿Qué quiere decir esto? Que no hay nada en el medio. Y no puede decir yo tuve un poco de miedo porque no va a ser justificado. No hay un punto intermedio entre tener miedo y no tener miedo. Y cuando usted decide usar el arma es porque realmente tuvo miedo de un riesgo de ser de muerte o de que le iban a hacer un gran daño a su cuerpo y eso es lo único que justifica utilizar un arma. Utilizar un arma no va a ser justificado en ningún otro caso, a no ser que sea de vida o muerte. Y eso es lo importante, and this is the important part, because many people think that having a gun is to defend themselves of people that, use abuse of power or something like that. And then they feel that now they have the power to defend their right. But that's not true. El arma no es para defender sus derechos, el arma es para defender su vida, por lo menos cuando la utilice. Habrá casos, por ejemplo, obviamente, si los derechos de la nación empiezan a hacerlo, eso fue creado. Pero la ley de la Florida solamente le justifica el uso del arma mortal contra otro solamente cuando su vida corre peligro o usted teme por un gran daño corporal. Saying that, Damien, I'm just going to read part of the book that is a sponsor for us with the U.S. Law Shield. U.S. Law Shield is a company that provides some legal advice, and we follow the rules using their books because they have hundreds of lawyers that gonna help people use when they use the firearms. And what it says, what is that reasonable and who decides? The law will judge your actions by using the reasonable person standards. That is, will a reasonable person under the same or similar circumstances agree that to prevent imminent death or great bodily harm, deadly force was necessary. The reasonable person standard is the law's attempt to make the concept or reasonableness an objective test. The law does not focus on whether you believe deadly force was reasonable, but whether a reasonable person will consider it reasonable. It was reasonable. In the legal system, this could be the jury, determine that a reasonable person will agree that to prevent imminent death or great bodily harm, deadly force was necessary, then you're legally justified in using deadly force. However, juries, judges, and prosecutors are simply human beings, and people can have vastly different ideas of how a reasonable person should act under any given circumstances. This particular true if asked to decide whether or not deadly force was necessary to prevent imminent death or great bodily harm. So let me say in Spanish. Is that clear, Deming?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, I'm just going to say in Spanish, because ¿qué es una creencia razonable y cómo usted va a ser juzgado y quién decide? La ley le juzgará sus acciones utilizando el estándar de personas razonables. Es decir, una persona razonable en las mismas circunstancias o similares está de acuerdo en que para evitar la muerte inminente o un gran daño corporal era necesaria una fuerza letal. Esta norma de persona razonable es un intento de la ley de hacer del concepto de razonabilidad una prueba objetiva. La ley no se centra en si usted creía que la fuerza letal era razonable, sino que si una persona razonable consideraría razonable, en última instancia, un jurado que determina que una persona razonable acepta que para evitar la muerte inminente o un gran daño corporal era necesaria una fuerza letal. Entonces, estaba legalmente justificado para usar la fuerza letal. Sin embargo, los jurados, jueces, fiscales son simplemente seres humanos y las personas pueden tener ideas muy diferentes de cómo una persona razonable debe actuar en cualquier circunstancia. Esto es particularmente cierto si se le pide decidir si es necesaria o no una fuerza mortal para evitar la muerte inminente o un gran daño corporal. Yeah, I just translated in Spanish for the Spanish-speaking audience. So, as you see, who decides is the jury based on your facts, the investigation, and any external device that can prove that you were justified or not. But remember, there are 12 people in the jury. All they are different, and all then have to agree that you were justified.
Right. All of them have to agree without reasonable doubt. So they either have to disagree that you have reason. Everyone has that. Not one person can have a doubt about you were justified or not justified. So if they're trying to prove that you're not justified, well, prosecution will be trying to prove that you're not justified. So without a reasonable doubt, everyone has to believe that you were not justified. You're trying to prove that you were justified. So without reasonable doubt, every juror, without any doubt, has to agree that you were justified. With one not agreeing, is a hung jury, if I'm not mistaken.
Right. Si todos los jurados tienen que estar de acuerdo en que usted está justificado, sin duda alguna ellos deben considerar que la acción, ellos estuvieran de acuerdo en que en circunstancias similares ellos hubieran hecho lo mismo. Por lo tanto, no es lo que uno piensa o si uno creía que era necesario, es que uno pueda probar que la vida de uno corría peligro, temía por un gran daño corporal y consideró justificado utilizar un arma de fuego que se considera un arma mortal. Pero recuerde que su versión va a ir a un sistema judicial donde usted se le va a juzgar anyway, de cualquier manera, por un crimen, y usted va a tener que demostrar que fue realmente justificado. Then you're saying that anyway, you're going to go to the court system, and then you're going to start to have to prove that you were justified, as you say, and the jury is the one who's going to decide that they were doing the same thing under the same or similar circumstances to prove that you are justified. But it's gonna now you're gonna start into a legal system, which is gonna take your time, money, and it's not. You have to survive to 7 different scenarios. Y por lo tanto, usted cuando entra en un sistema para probar que fue justificado, usted va a entrar a un sistema de cortes, el cual le va a juzgar por un crimen y usted tiene que probar que ese fue justificado, pero eso le va a costar dinero, tiempo y va a tener que sobrevivir a 7 diferentes escenarios que luego se los vamos a enumerar. Estos son los tipos de clases que nosotros damos en nuestra oficina. This is the type of class that we teach about law at the office in our classrooms. So brand new owners really gonna understand when they're gonna use the gun or not, or lethal force, porque también puede ser diferentes tipos de armas mortales, y eso es el tipo de enseñanza que nosotros damos en la academia y en las clases. Es para que usted sepa cuándo usted va a estar justificado o no y pueda decidir con mayor precisión. No, vosotros no vamos a estar ahí. Usted va a tener que decidir y usted va a tener que enfrentar las consecuencias. Por lo tanto, les pedimos que se comuniquen con nuestro show, den sus inquietudes, pero edúquense. I just encourage people to call us and give us their concerns, because that's the type of thing that we teach in our classes, to make our students more accurate to make any decision once they're going to make a decision, because they're going to be into the legal system, and we want to avoid that for them because it's money, time, and it's so many things involved that you don't want it to be there. Having a gun is a big responsibility, and you have to really understand the law, and what you're going to be facing once you use any gun or any firearm or any deadly weapon, because the class is for concealed weapon, but there are different kind of deadly weapons. Hay diferentes tipos de armas mortales, y lo que usted aprende con nosotros es a tener mayor conciencia de cuándo puede usarlas.
There are different weapons, period, because with the concealed weapons permit from Florida, that's why it's a weapon permit and not a gun license or a license to carry like other states, because it justifies you're legally carrying weapons that are not just deadly weapons, but are less lethal weapons as well. So that's how it covers you for all those things if you are or do have a concealed weapons permit in Florida.
Right. Also, we're gonna talk at the end because the time really flies, bro. It's almost 10 more minutes or less for the show.
Yeah, less.
But I just want to tell them about what we do with the U.S. Law Shield, please, and I'm gonna repeat that in Spanish.
Okay, U.S. Law Shield is an insurance, something similar to what law enforcement uses with their union. Because you see law enforcement officers get into situations and then they get a lawyer right then and there. That's what U.S. Law Shield offers you. It's an insurance to protect your rights in defending yourself. So what happens is, say you join U.S. Law Shield, you will be offered a card, a member card. On that member card is your member number. Also, there's a telephone number. When you call that telephone number, there is a U.S. Law Shield representative who's 9 times out of 10 to be an attorney that will represent you at any given time that you have to defend yourself, not just with a firearm or a weapon, but with an actual anytime you have to defend yourself, whether it's a fight or you have to use a firearm. And once you call them, you are represented without any extra cost besides what you pay to US Law Shield, without the deductible, without anything extra. You are covered and you have attorney that is going to represent you through your entire case. And the thing about what makes US Law Shield even better is, say you get into a position that you defended yourself and you ended up having to go to court to fight for your freedom to prove that you were justifiable in defending yourself, and you get justified to defend yourself. Now you have family members saying, okay, I understand you had to defend yourself from my family member, but now I want to sue you. US Law Shield again covers you in that civil action. So you won't just deal with them during the criminal action, they will cover you in the civil action as well. Again, no extra costs, no deductible, nothing added on. You don't have to pay the lawyer a dime. And you are covered civilly. You are covered criminally. You also can add kids on. You also can add firearm theft on. It's plenty of different add-ons with US Law Shield. But they are an insurance basically representing you in the act of defending yourself.
All right.
Go ahead,
En español, US Law Shield, nosotros somos representantes de US Law Shield en nuestra academia, y US Law Shield es un seguro, y esto de corazón se lo recomiendo a todos los nuevos usuarios que tienen armas y a los que ya la tienen, que muchas veces no están enterados de que esto existe, pero es como un seguro como el que tienen los oficiales de policía a través de los sindicatos, que ellos tienen abogados. Cada vez que ellos tienen algún problema legal, pues ellos ya tienen un abogado. Y esto lo que hace es que te crea una membresía. Esta membresía te da acceso 24 horas, 7 días a la semana, 365 días al año a consultar a tus abogados, y si en caso de un accidente, un incidente, usted puede llamarlos y puede tener un abogado que lo represente, porque recuerde que todo lo que usted dice o diga puede y será usado en su contra. Entonces, si tiene un incidente, antes de hablar con la policía o con alguien más, usted llame a su abogado, él va a estar a su lado en todo el proceso. Recuerde que entrar a un proceso al sistema de corte de los Estados Unidos va a llevarle mucho tiempo, va a llevarle mucho dinero y le va a llevar muchísimos inconvenientes. Y es bueno tener entonces a su lado a un abogado que sepa de las leyes y que pueda probar que usted usó el arma justificadamente. Si tienen alguna pregunta acerca de eso, por favor llámenos nuevamente al teléfono de RDA Show si quiere más información. Es el 786-453-6646. Are you saying the RDA Show phone number?
Right.
You can call us if you need more information about this insurance that is going to protect you and help you a lot. Our number is 786-453-6646. Give us a call, and we are happy to help you too. Time is gone. I just wanted to say thank you to Pangea FM, to CTU Security, which is provide us with the equipment, CTU Federal Academy, where we do the training, I Protect USA, where we do the simulation and airsoft training, and also once again Pangea FM, and 3B Tactical, which is, I heard Damien is an amazing coach. So let's keep in touch. We'll see you next week. Thank you for being with us, and please pass the word, pasen la voz, porque creemos que es muy importante. Muchas veces la gente toma las clases de Concealed Weapon, pero no se van un poco tan profundo, no se van tan profundo en el conocimiento de la ley. Nosotros queremos que usted entienda bien a lo que se refiere la ley y cuándo es legalmente justificado el uso de la fuerza mortal. I'm saying that we teach you a little bit deeper when we do the concealed weapon class, because we want that our students really understand the when, where, and why they can use deadly force, and not only that, the consequences.
Right. Well, I
Because
mean, in our classes, so far in my classes and the classes we give, so far I've never. Someone always says this. It was something they didn't know, even if they had their concealed weapon already or already took a concealed weapons class. And we always give a little extra with self-defense, deadly force, when and where you can use it, which is something that a lot of classes don't offer, because we want our students to have knowledge. When you leave that building, we want you to have knowledge that you didn't have when you came in.
Todos nuestros estudiantes aprenden siempre algo nuevo y se van con mucho conocimiento, y a pesar de que hayan tenido armas, hayan utilizado armamentos anteriormente, siempre hay algo nuevo que van a aprender. Les deseamos un feliz día. Muchas gracias por sintonizarnos. Thank you everybody to be with us at the RDA Show. Thank you, Panji, again, and I hope to see you next week.
See you next week.
Damien.
Thank you, Tony. Thank you, Tony. See you next week. Everybody remember, stay responsible.
Excellent.